Away the third time of asking. He sat in the blocks a little bit longer though. Gout Gout did not want to tempt fate. He gets up on Oos. He's out there a little bit wider now. Is Aidan Murphy, but here comes Gout Gout. We knew we'd see this in the final 50, so let's watch the young superstar rise. He's flying. He will be Gout of this universe.
When a teenager from Australia clocked a 9.31 second back half in the 200 meters, the athletics world stopped and stared. Analysts, fans, and even former champions couldn't believe what they were seeing. That sprinter, Gout Gout. And his sudden rise has everyone asking the same question. Is this kid the second coming of Usain Bolt? Born Guot Gout in Sudan and raised in Queensland, Australia, Gout is only 17 years old. He burst onto the scene with jaw-dropping performances in the national youth circuit and rapidly started rewriting Australian sprinting history. While most 17-year-olds are thinking about homework, Gout is thinking about sub-20-second 200-meter times and hitting them. His rise has been meteoric. From dominating junior meets to becoming the fastest Australian over 200 meters, Gout has turned from a promising local athlete into a global name, all before finishing high school. His story is even more remarkable considering his background. Coming from a refugee family and growing up in a new country, Gout's journey represents not just athletic excellence, but the power of opportunity and determination. At the 2025 Queensland State Championships, Gout delivered a run that turned heads around the globe. The clock read 19.98 seconds for his 200-meter sprint, a blistering time for any athlete, let alone a teenager. But what really shocked the analysts was the breakdown of that run. The first 100 meters took him 10.67 seconds. The second 100, an unbelievable 9.31 seconds. This run wasn't just a personal best. It was a national record, breaking Peter Norman's iconic time set in 1968. Video clips of the race went viral, with slow-motion replays highlighting his explosive acceleration and seemingly effortless glide down the home stretch. It was one of those rare moments in sport where you witness the birth of a star in real time. To appreciate how wild that 9.31 is, consider this. Usain Bolt, in his 2009 world record 200 meters of 19.19 seconds, ran the second half in 9.27 seconds. Michael Johnson, in his legendary 19.32 at the 1996 Olympics, had a back half split of 9.20. And Johan Blake, Bolt's Jamaican teammate, ran a 9.12 back end during his 19.26 run in 2011, the fastest second 100 meters ever recorded. Gout's 9.31 isn't far off those marks. Yes, his run had wind assistance and a running start, but even factoring that in, the result is mind-blowing. Movement scientist Dylan Hicks, who analyzed Gout's splits, was stunned. It's worth looking up which athletes have run this segment of a 200-meter faster. In history, Hicks added that Gout's biomechanics are already among the most efficient he's studied in someone so young. It didn't take long for the world to start drawing comparisons. The tall, rangy frame, the relaxed yet explosive stride, the smile, the charisma. Gout Gout doesn't just run like Bolt, he carries that same electric presence on the track. With every blazing performance, the hype around Gout grows. Former Olympian John Stephenson said the whole world is watching. Athletics Australia President Jane Fleming said her priority is to protect Gout's future, to make sure he survives the fame and pressure and thrives long enough to become a true great. Even four-time Olympic gold medalist Michael Johnson weighed in, calling for patience. There have been so many phenoms that have come up at 15, 16 years old and didn't get to ultimately be best of all time, he said. Let him just go out there and keep having fun and develop quietly, and that's where he will have his best chance. Media coverage has intensified. Every race Gout runs is now headline news in Australia, and international scouts are tracking his development closely. There's talk of major brand endorsements, international competitions, and pressure to qualify for senior-level events. Despite not counting officially, the performances were proof of potential. The speed is there. Now, it's just a matter of doing it under the right conditions. And Gout knows it. He's now focusing on technical aspects like block starts and reaction time to shave milliseconds off legally. To sharpen his tools, Gout has trained with the best, including Olympic gold medalist Noah Lyles in the US. The experience was invaluable, giving the young Aussie a glimpse into the life of a world champion. It also showed that Gout isn't just competing for national titles, he's aiming for the global stage. Training alongside Lyles exposed Gout to elite recovery protocols, sprint mechanics, and mental preparation techniques. His camp believes these sessions have accelerated his progress by years. The bond with Lyles has also helped Gout stay grounded amid the hype. This is the real question. Plenty of teenage track stars have flamed out before they ever hit the big stage. Injuries, burnout, mental stress, track and field is a brutal sport, and Gout is still just a kid. But what sets him apart is his mindset. "My circle helps me stay level," he said. He's focused not just on winning races, but on building a legacy. He wants to last, he wants to grow, and most importantly, he wants to peak at the right time. His coach, manager, and family are taking precautions to prevent overtraining. Regular sports psychology sessions are now part of his routine. There's a long-term plan, not just for medals, but for his physical and emotional health. There's something uniquely calm about Gout Gout. While others crumble under attention, he seems to soak it in. He speaks like someone twice his age, aware of his responsibilities and the eyes watching him. And then there's his style. He runs smooth, effortless. His stride, his posture, his finish, it's all poetry in motion. Analysts have described it as naturally efficient and biomechanically sound. Even casual viewers can sense something special when he's on the track. He's also a student of the sport. Gout spends time watching footage of Bolt, Blake, Johnson, and Lyles, not to imitate but to understand. It's clear he respects the game and he's in it for the long haul. While the immediate goals are Tokyo 2025 and LA 2028, Gout's ultimate stage might just be the Brisbane Olympics in 2032. Competing on home soil as a fully matured athlete, it could be Australia's next Kathy Freeman moment. Australia hasn't had a sprinter this promising since the days of Matt Shervington and Patrick Johnson. Gout's performances have already reignited interest in athletics across the country. The pieces are in place, a nation behind him, the world watching, and a path that could lead him to sprinting immortality. There's no denying the raw talent, there's no denying the numbers, and there's no denying the energy surrounding his name. Gout Gout is not just a fast kid, he's a movement. He's a glimpse into the future of sprinting. And whether or not he reaches Bolt-level greatness, one thing is clear. He doesn't want to follow anyone's footsteps. He wants to make his own. Inspired by Gout Gout's story? Hit that like button, drop a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe for more incredible sports stories. Could we be witnessing the rise of the next global sprinting icon? Let us know what you think.
Anticipated Gout Gout fight here, and on his inside, Andrew Mayenda is going to be the challenger. So Mayenda, the South Australian, he's fast. He's putting the challenge down to Gout Gout, and Josiah John out wide from WA. Josiah John, Gout Gout though now shows his class. Gout Gout from Queensland, 20.87. That is a national record.
This high schooler didn't just break a record, he obliterated it. Gout Gout, a 17-year-old Australian sprinter, just ran a 200-meter time so fast that the world took notice, and comparisons to Usain Bolt's early years are now unavoidable. But who is Gout Gout? And how did a teenager from Brisbane suddenly shock the entire track world? Born on December 29, 2007, Gout Gout grew up in a South Sudanese Australian family in Brisbane. His journey to sprinting stardom began in the most unassuming of places, school athletics carnivals. It was there that his natural talent stood out. By the time he was 13, he was already dominating local 100-meter and 200-meter events, drawing attention from national coaches and sports media. Under the guidance of his coach Diane Shepherd at Ipswich Grammar, Gout's raw speed began translating into timed excellence. At just 14 years old, he broke Australia's under-16 100 meters and 200 meters records with times of 10.57 and 20.87 seconds, respectively. For context, those times would already place him among the best sprinters in many national senior championships. He continued his ascent through 2023, capturing under 18 titles and further lowering his 100 meters to 10.29 seconds in March 2024. In August 2024, at only 16, he traveled to Lima for the World U20 Championships and ran a personal best of 20.60 in the 200-meter final, earning a silver medal. That time placed him among the top U18 runners globally and hinted at his massive potential. But his true breakout moment came in December 2024. In a stunning performance at the Queensland All-Schools Championships, Gout Gout clocked an unbelievable 20.04 seconds in the 200 meters. This shattered the Australian under-18 record, a mark that had stood for 56 years, previously held by Olympic silver medalist Peter Norman. Even more impressively, it beat Usain Bolt's own time of 20.13 at the same age. Bolt was 16 when he set that 2013, and we all know what happened after. That same month, Gout ran a 10.17 in the 100 meters, the fastest legal time ever recorded by an Australian under-18 athlete. He also recorded a wind-assisted 10.04 seconds in an earlier heat, a time that, while not legal for record purposes, ranked among the fastest ever by an under-18 globally. These were no flukes. Gout was now officially on the radar of the global sprinting elite. Fast forward to March 2025. Competing at the Queensland State Championships, Gout ran a wind-aided 19.98 in the 200 meters plus 3.6 meters per second. Then in April, at the Australian Senior National Championships in Perth, he delivered a stunning 19.84 seconds plus 2.2 meters per second wind to win the senior 200-meter title. While these times were not eligible for official record purposes due to wind assistance, they marked him as one of the fastest under-20 sprinters in the world, second only to Ariane Knighton in terms of all conditions 200-meter times for a youth athlete. International media began to stir. Track experts and former Olympians started comparing his raw speed and poise to Usain Bolt's early career. Gout's sudden rise attracted attention beyond the track. Adidas signed him to a multi-year sponsorship deal in early 2025, seeing in him a potential global ambassador. Plans were made for him to train in Florida, alongside stars like Noah Lyles and Ariane Knighton, under the guidance of elite coaches who specialize in nurturing young talent. His team, led by Diane Shepherd and with support from Athletics Australia, is keen on maintaining his academic and mental balance to prevent burnout. So what makes Gout Gout different from other junior phenoms? It's not just his speed. Standing at 1.83 meters, he combines explosive power with remarkable fluidity and endurance. He doesn't just dominate the 100 or 200 meters, he's also posted impressive times in the 400 meters, including a 46.20 run in early 2025. That versatility hints at a deep athletic foundation and room to grow into a multi-event sprinter. His progression is among the most rapid ever documented for an Australian sprinter, from 22.68 at age 13 to 20.04 by 16. His improvement curve is almost unprecedented. At 13, he was running 22.68 in the 200 meters. By 15, he dropped to 20.87. Then at 16, he nearly broke the 20-second barrier. Such progression not only shows natural talent, but also a dedication to training, exceptional coaching, and a strong support system. Experts are careful to note that very few youth athletes can sustain this growth, which is why his team is pacing his development smartly. But with rapid success comes pressure. Australian track officials and his coaching team are being careful. They're emphasizing balance, keeping Gout in school, monitoring his training loads, and shielding him from the intense media glare. Burnout and injury are constant risks for young athletes, and no one wants to see another prodigy push too hard, too fast. The Australian community also had to rally behind him when he became the target of online racial abuse in late 2024. Instead of breaking under pressure, Gout stood tall, his community and school doubling down in support. Despite the caution, the excitement surrounding Gout is only intensifying. Athletics Australia is reportedly including him in the senior team for the World Championships in Tokyo later in 2025. If he qualifies, he'd be one of the youngest ever to represent the country on such a stage. With guidance from elite-level mentors and the backing of a supportive infrastructure, Gout is poised to break more barriers. And then there's the Olympics. Paris 2024 came just a bit too soon. But Los Angeles 2028, Brisbane 2032, those are now realistic targets, with Gout Gout poised to be the face of Australian athletics for the next decade. By Brisbane, he'll be 24 years old, likely at his physical peak and running on home soil, in a sport that constantly searches for the next big thing. Gout Gout isn't just hype. His performances are backed by hard data, legal wind readings, and consistent improvement. More importantly, his times are better than most elite runners at his age, even the legends. With legal 10.17 and 20. 10.04 performances on record and wind-aided sub-20s on his resume, he's carving a path toward history. As we look ahead, one question remains. Is Gout Gout the next Usain Bolt? Or is he about to write a new chapter in sprinting history with his own name at the top? One thing is certain, the track world has been shaken, and it may never be the same again. Comment below. Do you think Gout Gout will dominate the 2028 Olympics? Hit like if you're rooting for him, and subscribe for more stories on the rising stars redefining sports.
The track here now, Gout Gout gets up on John, moves past John, he can't be stopped, he is incredible, 10.17. 10.17. Oh, wow. He started behind the 8 ball.
At just 16 years old, Gout Gout has done what many athletes spend their lives chasing. Clocking an eye-watering 10.17 seconds in the 100 meters at the Queensland Track Classic, he didn't just break records, he shook the foundations of Australian sprinting. This isn't just a story about speed, it's about defying expectations, embracing identity, and setting sights on Olympic greatness. Gout Gout's journey starts in Ipswich, Queensland. Born to South Sudanese parents who escaped a war-torn homeland, Gout was raised on stories of perseverance and grit. His parents, like many immigrants, faced cultural and economic hurdles, but were determined to give their children a better life. Their resilience was passed down to Gout, who would channel it into his athletic ambitions. Interestingly, his name itself tells a story. Originally spelled Guot, a simple immigration error changed it to Gout. Rather than correcting it, his family embraced the new identity. That name, unusual and often mispronounced, would soon be echoed in stadiums and headlines across the country. Before he was sprinting into record books, Gout was dribbling soccer balls across suburban fields. Like many kids his age, he idolized Cristiano Ronaldo, mimicking his moves and dreaming of football stardom. But fate had other plans. During a school athletics carnival in year 7, Gout stepped onto the track and left everyone, including himself, stunned by his raw speed. It wasn't long before coaches and scouts began to take notice. Transitioning to full-time track training, he ditched the cleats for spikes. That decision, made in his early teens, would become the cornerstone of a legacy in the making. What amazed coaches even more was his natural running form, fluid, powerful, and uncoached. It was as if speed was wired into his DNA. December 20th, 24. The Australian All-Schools Athletics Championships. Gout lines up for the 100 meters, his face composed, his focus laser-sharp. What happened next would rewrite record books. He blazed through the heats in a wind-assisted 10.04 seconds, but in the final, with legal wind conditions, he delivered a staggering 10.17 seconds. That time wasn't just a win, it was a record. The fastest ever by an Australian under 18 athlete. What made this moment even more electrifying was the lit up among his competitors. They knew they were witnessing something historic.
The track here now, Gout Gout gets up on John, moves past John, he can't be stopped, he is incredible, 10.17.
And he wasn't done. The following day, he shattered the Australian national 200-meter record, clocking an unbelievable 20.04 seconds. That broke Peter Norman's 56-year-old record of 20.06. To put it into perspective, Peter Norman won silver at the 1968 Olympics and stood on the podium with Tommy Smith and John Carlos during their historic Black Power salute. Gout's time not only dethroned a legend, but symbolically linked two eras of athletic excellence. The reaction was immediate and global. Social media exploded with praise, international athletics forums lit up with comparisons, and Australian sports outlets declared him the next big thing. For a 16-year-old, it was dizzying. But Gout remained unfazed. He smiled, gave a humble nod to his family and coaches, and walked off the track, already thinking about his next race. Global comparisons began flooding in. Analysts pointed out that Gout's 200-meter time made him the second fastest under 18 athlete in the world, trailing only Ariane Knighton of the U.S. But perhaps the most mind-blowing moment came when Usain Bolt himself acknowledged Gout's talent. To be mentioned in the same breath as the fastest man alive, that's more than an accolade, it's a prophecy. As the hype grew, so did the opportunities. Gout signed a sponsorship deal with Adidas, a move that placed him alongside global sprinting elites. This wasn't just a marketing deal, it was a statement.